beautiful day in the neighborhood. Beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be mine? Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my lover? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Do you mind turning off the heat?
Oh.
Good morning. Another beautiful day. Drinking some water. It's important not to inhale it. Just a little instruction there. It is good. Best. It goes down the right pipe. Welcome to the daily morning ritual. I started off the day with a little oil pulling, as you know. Oil pulling has many, many benefits. Many benefits which range from cleaning your mouth from all the bacteria that get stuck in there overnight, throughout the day. It reduces all sorts of streptococcus, which also goes and contributes to gingivitis and tooth decay. So be sure to try out oil pulling if you haven't already. Oil pulling, 20 minutes a day. Coconut oil, sesame oil, sunflower oil. The benefits list is long, which you can read there. And it's surprising. It's really surprising. My friend Jim, who I keep bringing up, my friend Jim, he did it for 3 years upon my recommendation, and then went to the dentist, actually 2 dentists, and they both said after 15 minutes, we don't really need to clean your teeth that much. They seem to be fine. So if the scraping part of the dentistry is something that you don't necessarily enjoy that much, try oil pulling. It will pull out all the goop in the mouth and make your breath fresh. So, beautiful. Let's dive in. I've been dealing with a little bit of a cough, so it hasn't fully blossomed into a cold. So I believe that's a testament to this breathing technique and the cold therapy. Typically, I've been getting colds several times a year up until the last couple of years when I've been doing the Wim Hof method and the cold therapy. So I do occasionally get a cough. I have had nasal problems since I was about 6 when I had a staph infection in my nose, and so that ended up being a beautiful lesson in being very aware of my breath. So now I'm very aware of my breath and the benefits of different kinds of breath and the amount of control that we actually have over our breath. And so in some ways that trauma ended up being a beautiful gift. And so if you can see, as I've seen through kind of the difficulty of that situation to what the benefit has been, I can definitely attest to that. So in addition to the cold and the breathing techniques, I also use a neti pot. If you've ever used a neti pot, this just happens to be like a little teapot looking one. Different ones you can find in different places. Excuse me. And what that does is it goes through one nostril, pour it into one nostril, and the water drips out of the other nostril. It's like, and then the water drips out of this nostril, and then you do the other side of it. And the water drips out of that nostril. And it loosens up all the dried up goop that gets caught in there. I don't know if you get dried up goop. I think most people must get some, but maybe it's me more than others. Who knows? I know that it definitely benefits A blood type people who end up getting a lot of garbage collection out through the mucous membrane. So give that a shot too if you have a cold. I put a little bit of salt in with it, with the water, the warm water, before I pour it. And if I tip it back and pour it, tipping back, it also goes through the sinuses in the back and actually runs out the mouth. And there's a little cavity back there behind the sinuses before the throat that can collect the garbage. So that's often a place that might feel clogged and dislodged and cause a lot of coughing. So pour that through and clear all that out on a regular basis if you are starting to get a cold, and notice what happens. Beautiful. Well, let's dive into our message from the universe for today, the I Ching. Brian Brown Walker's version this morning. It's such beautiful translations. And we like getting our message from the universe so that we can frame our day and get a spot of wisdom for our contemplation. So, since there are no accidents, whatever message that we get is perfect for us. So I'm going to tap the 2 coins, the 3 coins, to get 2 lines. Cinnamon is here. She's going to tap her 2 taps. There we go. Aha. And I'll tap for you. 1, 2. Beautiful. Let's see what our message is for today. Aha. Thai. Peace. Earth over heaven. Peace. Heaven exists on earth for those who maintain correct thoughts and actions. This hexagram signifies a time similar to spring. There's a strong flow of energy, and harmony and prosperity are the reward of those who correctly balance their higher and lower natures. It is by remaining aware of our inferior self while ensuring that the superior self governs our conduct that we arrive in a state of peace. See yourself as a young tree now. The ground around you is fertile. Sun and water and wind are plentiful. By maintaining your focus on moving upward toward light, clarity, and purity, you can reach great heights. If you become entangled in inferior things, you will not enjoy the full benefit of this gracious hour. Stay balanced, innocent, and correct, and good fortune is assured. And we have 2 special messages on top of that. The first says, peace and harmony do not go on indefinitely. Ebb and flow are inherent in the nature of life. When difficulties arise, accept this and hold firmly to what is correct. Good fortune returns to those who remain calm and detached. And then, second message on top of that. A waning is at hand. Avoid resisting this or concocting strategies to escape it. We are aided when we submit to the wisdom of the higher power. And then further guidance from the Wei Wu Wei Ching. Excuse me. In the practice of the way, Nothing is forced. Remaining at home in quiet concentration, you merge the outside and inside into one. At peace with everything, unlearned, unworried, untouched by phenomena, you enter into reality as an ordinary person. Hmm. Soak that in, and how does that feel? And then we have a flavor on top of that, which is decrease. Mountain over lake. Be still, lessen the power of the ego, and misfortune will be avoided. So this is a flavor on the first one. It is a fact of life that times of decrease come upon us. Our resources are limited, difficulty surrounds us, and our egos generate angry and unhappy emotions. Nonetheless, such times are good for us. If we respond to them by quieting our egos and turning sincerely to the higher power for help, we emerge from the period of decrease stronger, healthier, and wiser. When we discover that we are unable to achieve our goals, our egos become infuriated. We are tempted to harden into anger and bitterness, to lash out, to desperately and aggressively grab for control over the situation. If we do this, however, we only push our salvation further away. The I Ching counsels a withdrawal into stillness now. The image is that of spring reverting to the inside of the mountain during a time of drought. By returning to its quiet center during the time of decrease, it avoids evaporating and exhausting itself in vain. You would be wise to follow this example. To try to force progress by arguing, manipulating, or making excuses will only bring your downfall. Instead, disengage from your inferior elements, however passionately they seek expression, and turn to the sage for guidance and assistance. The hexagram sun issues a call to sacrifice negative feelings, accept the powerlessness of the ego against the currents of life, and return to contemplation of the principles of the sage. In stillness and meditation, we enrich the higher parts of ourselves and thus bring an end to the time of decrease. And further guidance from the Wei Wu Wei Ching. Arousal, opinion, excitement, anger. So easy to spark, so impossible to govern. Prefer instead to be impartial, unattached, empty, silent, still. Staying right at home, you can transcend all phenomena and enjoy complete peace. Well, peace is definitely a theme for the day. Why don't we use that as fuel for our meditation, our choice of our intention, our choice of our prayer or our mantra, and come into a seated position, upright, and if you want to use a mala or a rosary as a tool to retain your focus on repeating over and over your intention, you just move it with your thumb like this. It's very simple. You keep going, you keep going. Every time you repeat it, you pull another bead. That's what they're for. And you put a lot of love into it. Obviously, you've got a tool that helps with your meditation, with your coming back into yourself, coming back into ourselves, coming back into each moment when we allow our minds to run and run and run and run, the mind makes up all sorts of crazy stories based upon whatever experience we've had in the past. It'll make up stories about the future. It'll even retell stories about what happened in the past, try to figure things out. And when we come back into the present and just experience this moment without any of that filter, there's actually, I would say, magic happening at all times. So if you can really just come back into your heart and come back into each moment and just feel all that's happening around you, notice that all that's happening around you, and then from there, choose. Another expression of your heart. And this is where the 5 elements come in, and I'll be creating tools for you to experience the 5 elements: earth, wind, fire, water, and void. And these are the only elements that we need to master, believe it or not. So that's a topic for another day. But for today, come into your contemplation, sit upright. For the first minute, we're going to choose our mantra, our prayer, our intention, and then for 4 minutes, just repeat that in your mind. Choose your thoughts, feel it in your heart and body, and enjoy. So sit upright, attempt to remain motionless except for your mala beads. And choose your highest intention from this place of stillness and emptiness. What is the greatest gift that you want to give today? What is your highest intention? What is your passion, your intention, your vision for the prosperity, for the abundance, for the peace that you create in every moment? And as you share that peace and prosperity and abundance, the benefit that you receive, and then you wish to share with everyone. Let's begin. Beautiful. Mm-hmm. I use a insight timer, and you can see the other people who have meditated with you. And you have a little community. It's beautiful. Insight timer. Ah, beautiful. All right, let's begin our breathing exercises that go into deeper parts of the brain and create new neuronal connections to the amygdala. This is what the research is now showing, is that our brains are becoming activated at this deeper part. All of the stories about us not being able to use more than 10 or 15% of our brains is because we've been frozen into this fight or flight or freeze in the amygdala, and there are no connections, or very few connections to the amygdala. So we're creating powerful new connections, and that gives us greater immunity, less inflammation, reduces anxiety and depression, and sounds good to me. So if you have the Wim Hof app, grab it. If you haven't grabbed it, grab it after this. You can just listen along for now. It has a retention timer, so you can measure how long your retention is. What we do is we do 4 cycles of 40 breaths. At the end of the 40 breaths in each cycle, we exhale completely down to 0, no air, and we hold it for as long as we can. Our intention is to go for 2 minutes. So build up the energy, bring in the energy, bring in the oxygen during the 40 breaths, and then exhale completely and hold it. And this activates this deeper part of the brain. So let's start, and you start by taking a big inhale, and then a complete exhale, all the way down to 0. Start taking intense inhales, serene exhales, kind of a breath of fire. Follow along. Do your best. Feel the energy come into your body. Use your abdomen. Out on the inhale. Push in on the exhale. Out on the inhale. Push on the exhale. Last 10. Last 5. Deeper than before. Last 3. Feel the activation. Last two. Get ready to exhale. Start your timer. Exhale to 0. Take a deep inhale. Hold for 15. Feels so good to be here with you. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for joining every morning with us. Activating, cleansing, healing our bodies and minds. If you want to drink a water, now's a good time. Go for 5 glasses of water first thing in the morning. I do it right after oil pulling. I want my mouth to be clean as I'm pouring water past all of those bacteria because I want just the best bacteria in my gut. So I do the oil pulling first, get out all the gunk, spit it out into the garbage. Don't spit into the sink, it might clog the sink just because, especially like coconut oil congeals at a kind of cooler temperature around 60 or so. And you don't want it clogging your pipes. You may have noticed that in the middle of the retention hold that I swallow. Don't ask me why that seems to do something. I'm not actually bringing in breath. I just swallow, but for whatever reason it makes it so I can go longer. You might try that. Try a swallow in the middle. And if you feel like you need to, anyway. If you don't feel like you need to, don't. All right, beautiful. Let's begin our second round, activation of our deeper parts of our brain, our immune system, relieving anxiety and depression. So good. Ready? All right, so we're going to take a breath and then exhale completely. Inhale. Breath of fire. Last 10. Feel the tingle all over the body. Feel the lightheadedness. Last 3. Deepest breaths ever. 2. Take a deep breath. Exhale completely to 0. Start your retention timer. Remain present in the emptiness. Hold as long as you can. Deep inhale, hold, 15. Oh my God, I can't believe how good this is. Gosh. It feels so good every morning to do this. And to do it with you is extra special. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for joining. And experimenting and realizing the true benefits that are available to us with these beautiful techniques that have been developed over thousands of years by the sages in the mountains, going deep into their body, feeling what works, and feeling the benefit. Going into that emptiness, the retention at the bottom, where no thoughts. It's easier to get to no thoughts. Beautiful. So we're going to go for our third round. If you need a sip of water, feel free. It's feeling better and better with each round, right? Beautiful. All right, so we begin with an inhale and exhale completely. No air at all. Inhale. Breath of fire. Breathe out like a dragon. Activate that beast within you. That animal. last 5. Get ready to exhale completely. Go to 0. Hold at the bottom. Be completely present. Exhale completely. Start your retention timer. Hold at the bottom. Deep inhale, hold for 15. Beautiful, beautiful. Here's another tip. When you're inhaling and holding at the top, you might clench your teeth and put the tongue on the roof of your mouth. The clenching of the teeth, what that produces is enough pressure in the brain that the brain, little vessels in the brain don't pop. Typically, actually, a lot of people experience strokes by not necessarily when we're younger, but when we get older, we go and sit on the toilet and we push pretty hard. And usually the rest of the vascular system is not tightened up because we're resting on the toilet. And when we clench our teeth, it tightens up the vascular system in our brain. If we don't clench our teeth and tighten up our vascular system, and we put a lot of pressure on our blood system by pushing to push out a bowel movement, that pushing can cause little pops in these blood vessels in the brain, because if we're relaxed, those little blood vessels are relaxed. By clenching your teeth while sitting on the toilet and pushing, again, better if you drink a lot of water in the morning, you don't have to push very hard. But if you do experience a difficult bowel movement and you do feel the need to push, clench your teeth and increase the vascular system's tension, so those little blood vessels are less likely to pop. Little tip for the toilet and prevent strokes. So that's a lesson from Swami Rama. Beautiful. So feeling good, feeling good, feeling good. Let's go for our fourth round. And our fourth round is a little bit different. You want to create a little bit of space on your mat in case your goodies for meditation and such are nearby. And you want to create a little space so that you can do push-ups, because when we do this last round, we do the round, 4 cycles of 40 breaths, exhale completely just as we've been doing, holding it at the bottom just as we've been doing, except we add push-ups to that hold at the bottom. And we do as many push-ups as possible. And I invite you to do them very slowly, these push-ups. It's maximum benefit for push-ups as far as exercise goes. The slower the motion, the more benefit in the least amount of time, at least according to research done at Colorado State in the early 70s. And we get to experience moments very slowly. Instead of like grinding it out, we're going to go very slowly and just experience each moment. Okay? This is what we do. We go very slow while making love. Experiment with this while making love, either with yourself or with a partner. Go very slowly and notice each micro movement and the pleasure in each tiny little movement. It brings us really back into the present, especially for men, so you don't tip over the edge. You stay energy in your body without ejaculation, and that energy builds and builds and builds and builds. So instead of like peaking and then lovemaking being over, typically we let the energy rise and rise and rise, never going over the edge. And this is something I teach in my edging class. So if you'd like to come join us for Sex Magic in the morning, you can join Cinnamon and me around 8:20, 8:30 in the morning. To find us, go to gasm.tv, the website, gasm.tv, and in the upper right is a link to Chatterbait, and you're welcome to see a different kind of lovemaking, very slow, sweet, tender, and beautiful. And all right, beautiful. So let's begin our final round. You can get into a position where you can do this. Jump into your push-up in a moment at the end of the 40th breath. All right? All right, so let's go. We're going to start with an inhale and a full exhale. Inhale. Breath of fire. More. Last 5. Get ready with your retention timer. Get ready to exhale down to 0. Get ready to do your push-ups. Go into your push-up position. Exhale completely to the bottom. One more breath. Do as many push-ups as you can. Hold your breath at the bottom. And enjoy. Inhale. Hold for 15. It's better each and every day. Oh my God, so good. Oh, the Wim Hof app, which I encourage everybody to grab if you haven't. Super useful to track your progress. He's got other exercises, other practices. I encourage you to check those out. He goes into more depth. You can buy the add-ons. But it's a beautiful, beautiful gift that he's given us with these different exercises. He also encourages forward bending, increased flexibility with a forward bend. See if you can reach your ankles or go even further and reach your big toe. Hold on to them with your fingers and go as deep as you can. Hold that. If you can reach to the bottoms of your feet. Create that lengthening of the hamstrings. Oh, it's so good to be here with you every morning. Oh my gosh, I love it. Another exercise that he encourages is the reverse balance. Are you familiar with that one? That's when you put your feet up. You put your feet over your head and you rest on your shoulders. And then the headstand. Do you know how to do headstand? They're pretty easy once you start doing them. You can use a wall to put your feet up. You don't have to like have them balanced perfectly in the middle of the air. Put your head next to a wall on a towel, and you can start by putting your feet onto your knees onto your elbows. And I'll show you what that looks like. So let's say you're next to the wall with your back. When you put your head down, your back is facing the wall. You put your knees, put your elbows out, and you can put your knees on your elbows. And then push up. And hold it there. Right? And that strengthens the neck, gives you better balance, and improves the strength of your, again, back to the strengthening of the vascular system in the head. creates that kind of effect. So you can enjoy that. And let's do one more set of breaths. We can do our alternate nostril breathing. Alternate nostril breathing balances out the left and right hemispheres and of the brain, puts them into balance so that we can have more balanced thoughts, logical side, creative side. Normally there's this kind of a ebb and flow between the two sides. Every 45 minutes it'll be, this nostril will be open and this nostril will be closed, breathing primarily on this side, activating one side of the brain, and then it'll switch over to this side, and this side will become dominant. And so by switching back and forth relatively quickly with our inhales and our exhales, we bring a balance between both sides of the brain. And you can learn to do this without the aid of your fingers, because we actually have conscious control over the spongy tissue in our nostrils. They're very similar to the spongy tissue in our genitals, but we have conscious control over whether they're open or closed, and what direction and how they flow. And you can experiment with that when you're sitting in quiet. You can direct the air up, you can direct the air back, so you can direct which direction the air goes. You can also control whether you have air flowing through one nostril or the other. Okay, surprising, right? When I first did it, it's like, whoa, seriously? I can control the flow of air in my nostrils? Again, breath has been a gift to me by it also being a trauma, by having it as a really intense medical trauma when I was little. It was probably the most intense thing I have experienced in life. Almost. One of the more lasting impressions. So, so alternate nostril breathing, we use kind of our training wheels are to use our pointer finger and our thumb to close one nostril or the other. And so we start off with our right nostril, inhaling, exhale our right nostril, inhale our right nostril, then switch, put the thumb on the right nostril, exhale the left nostril, inhale the left nostril, cover the left nostril, exhale the right nostril, inhale the right nostril, cover the right nostril, exhale the left nostril, inhale the left nostril, close the left nostril, exhale the right nostril, inhale, switch, exhale, inhale, switch, exhale. And we do this 9 times. spend maybe another minute or so. Practice it with just conscious control. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Oh, I love joining with you each morning, coming together and doing these exercises and practices together. You're so amazing for putting yourself in a priority, making sure that your body and your mind is fully activated, energized, that you're building the deepest parts of your brain, reducing any chance of or occurrences of depression, anxiety, letting all of that go in the emptiness of our breathing and our breathing exercises. And I encourage you to experiment with the cold as well. So again, love you, bless you. We will see you soon. See you tomorrow morning on another episode of Daily Morning Ritual.